that I'm using today. It's a Mother's California Gold. Comes with 2 clay bars, the detailer spray, and also a microfiber cloth. And also the wax that I'm using is this Meguiar's wax for black paint. And these waxes, they come in a few different styles and varieties. This is the paste wax. If you go to the store, you'll see some spray-on wax. That is much easier to apply. Doesn't take as much time at all, but of course it's not going to last as long. This paste wax is a little bit more work, but it's going to last you at least a year. I would say the spray-on wax, you'd have to reapply that every 3 months or so. I like to do a wax every year or so, but you know, that might be overkill. But in the long run, if you keep your paint in good condition, if you're worried about resale value, it'll really keep everything looking good. Like, you can have a 10-year-old car, and if you wax it, take care of it, polish it, keep it clean, then it'll look almost brand new when you want to sell it. Alright, let's get to it. First step is to wash the car. A lot of people recommend using kitchen soap to wash the car because it's a little bit more stronger than car soap. I'm just going to use car soap today. Alright, now it's time to dry the car. You know, if you want, you can just take it on the highway, take it up to 100 miles an hour, and it'll be dry real quick. Otherwise, you gotta do it the long way. The waffle weave. You know, it just occurred to me, you probably don't even need to dry it before you clay bar, because if you clay bar it, sometimes you only need water. So I'm just gonna I dried it halfway. I'll just start clay barring it now. When you start to clay bar the car, usually a pack would come with 2 clay bars. What I like to do is split each clay bar into 2 pieces. That way, just in case you happen to drop half of a piece, you can throw that away and start fresh with the other half. When you start, you just want to spray some of that detailer on there. Just start rubbing the clay bar. Keep track of where you go also. You'll know that you can move on when you don't hear any rough sounds and when it just feels smooth. And eventually, the more pressure you put onto the clay bar, the more this will spread out, and you'll be able to cover more surface area also. You see all these little speckles? That's because the paint is not protected and little bits of rust are forming. If you have those small little rust spots on your paint, the clay bar will take it right off. When you do the side here, this is the most likely area that the clay bar is going to fall from your hand, slip out, fall on the floor. So just be extra careful that you don't let it touch the ground. You want to always throw away any piece of clay bar that you drop, because it would get a little chunk of rock or some sand in it, and this will cause scratches in your paint. All the grime and the dirt that it's removing from the paint, there's no rocks or anything like that, nothing hard that's going to scratch the paint. It's just dirt and grime, so that's safe to use. Otherwise, if you drop a piece of clay bar, make sure you throw it away. Don't reuse it. You can see this is one of the sides that's clean. Well, it's been used, but that's the side that I've just been working on. Way darker, way dirtier. That's all the stuff that's being removed from the car's paint, and it's not the paint. It's either tree sap or dirt of some kind. You always want to do the front bumper last. That's where most of that road grime is going to be at. If you have some old, dry, dead bugs on your headlights, you can also clay bar your headlights. It's not going to damage anything. All it's doing is removing the surface layer of dirt. So this is what the clay bar looks like after doing the front bumper. You can see all the contamination in it. You would not want to rub that over the surface of the car. Finally, after it's clay barred, now you can wash it one more time. Another thing, this clay bar is going to take, it's a big job. It really is a big job. But if you do it good one time, get the wax on, you won't have to clay bar again for like 3, 4, 5 years even. Depending, like if you park it under trees, of course, you're going to get sap dripping on the car. and then it'll be more likely you have to clay bar it. Or if you take long road trips, then you'll get bugs all over the front of the car. But you know, the places that you will not really have any problem or trouble spots in the future is like your doors, the whole side of the cars. After you clay bar that once, that's pretty much smooth for life. The hood, the front bumper, and the roof of the car and the trunk, that seems to be the places that would need it the most. Now we can apply the wax. Now, when you look at other videos or when you see other people waxing their car by hand, you'll often notice that they put it on in a swirl motion. But I've found over the years of waxing different cars that actually causes swirl marks on the car's paint when you buff it out. So a trick that I've come up with that works really well is to not put it on in a swirl motion, but instead put the wax on in streaks. Because all this is doing is adding a layer of wax over the paint. There's no reason for it to go on in a swirl motion. So it's not the actual motion that you apply the wax that takes off the scratches and makes the car's paint look shiny. It's going to be when you buff it out with a microfiber towel. All you need is a very thin layer. You're not doing yourself any favors if you put on a thick layer. It's not going to add any more wax to the paint, and it's just going to make it even harder for you to take it off. The car actually looks pretty cool with just the wax on. It's almost like a matte black finish. Alright, all waxed. Now we just got to wait 15 minutes and then buff it out with our microfiber towel. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes and the whole car has been dried to a haze. This is where you're really going to need some elbow grease. It doesn't matter how hard you press with the microfiber towel when you're buffing out the wax. Actually, harder is better. You want to press the wax into the paint, let it bind really well. So that's what we're going to do. Let's start with the trunk. Some people, they like to put one coat of wax, and you know, if they really love their cars, they'll polish that off, buff it out with their hand or maybe the tool that they have, and then they'll reapply a whole another layer. Sometimes they'll even let it sit overnight because they think that the wax and the polymers, they'll bind to the paint better if you let it sit overnight. But one layer should be good enough for at least a year. Alright, we're all done. Alright, well, if you watched this video until the end, hopefully you learned something. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me one time. Stay tuned for more random videos, something like this. I don't know what I'm going to post next. Maybe I'll just get some random idea and post it up. But hopefully there comes a lesson with it, and I'm able to teach you a little something, and hopefully you take something away from this video or from the future videos. Thanks for the love, the support, the comments, the likes, the shares, favorites, everything. Thank you. Appreciate it. Until next time.